Welcome back, everybody, to the channel. This is United vs. Everybody. I am your host, Sean. So glad to have you guys join me tonight. Thank you for taking some time out of your Saturday as well to jump in, get involved with the fun little show we're going to do. Not a whole lot of news today, so thought maybe we save the news roundup tomorrow, maybe accumulate a little bit more to talk about. You guys know I don't like just doing like the random show, like news shows about nothing, like, oh, maybe United could go in for a third bid on Embuemo. Yeah, that's just common sense. That's not news. Our second bid was reportedly rejected. Odds are we're going through a third bid. It didn't really take waiting for Fabrizio Romano to really tell us that, right? So that's what we're doing tomorrow probably. So we'll keep an eye on the news. But tonight, though, thought I'd shake things up again because I've been looking a little more at my old scouting stuff. You guys know that before I was doing the channel, before I was with Shreddy News, all that stuff, I was kind of doing my own scouting thing. I was really interested in that. I was getting my certifications from the PFSA, which is the Professional Football Scouting Association. Danny B, if you're in the house, you should go check that out sometime. So I was doing that and then doing a lot of random scouting reports, but I was looking back through them all and I was like, man, it's kind of interesting to go back and look at some of these players and then compare them to what they are today. So if you can't tell where I'm going with this, that's what we're doing today. So going back, looking at some of my scouting reports from almost like well over 2 years ago in some cases, and looking at who we got then and where they are now. So we're going to go through it month by month. I did that for about a year or so. So there, and you'll see there's a lot per month. It was literally like every other day I was putting out a scouting report. I told you guys I was a nerd. Still am. Don't say anything, but we're going to do that today. So get stuck in if you guys are interested. Love to hear your thoughts on some of this. It's super chill, super fun, super relaxed, but it is what it is. You guys know that's how we roll on the channel. So hit that like button for me. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Please go check the link for the video. You'll see a ton of stuff in there, whether it's gear or charities. If you guys want to go ahead and donate, I'm not going to go through the whole spiel again. I've done that a lot, but suffice it to say, everything you might need is in the video description. So don't be afraid to go check that out. But most importantly, hit the like button, subscribe as well. Check the memberships too if you guys want to get more involved. So let's dive in. First, let me start off with what's in the chat right now. So, and I did put polls. I'm going to be putting polls in the chat for every player that we're going to go through today. So give you guys time to kind of get your thoughts in as we go through. Obviously, spoiler alert, you can see the first one, but who's jumping back in? Casper, good to see you again, Casper. I hope you're doing well. Sorry if I seem tired. Not feeling great these last couple of days, to be honest. I don't know if it's weather or something I ate or something, but literally been on my couch most of the day today. But big up, Casper. Good to see you. And again, man, says the weather is crazy hot. Dude, it's like 90 something again. I'm annoyed. It's either just been too hot or it's just been thunderstorming and you can't do anything. So welcome to summer here. Big up, Danny. Good to see you again, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Danny says too early to say about Ugarte. I think so far been above average. We'll get involved in the poll. I will refer back to that. Box says, yo, Sean, big up, Box. Hope you're doing well. Might as well start things off with the first player from my scouting reports all those years ago. If you guys do want to get a little head start, I did that community post the other day sharing my scouting report on Hayden Hackney back from like 2023. That link, though, it'll take you to the old website and you can go look at all the stuff I used to write. Don't be too cruel. It was a very long time ago, but we'll get to Hackney's report. But Manuel Ugarte was actually my very first scouting report, and this was back in December of 2022. That was insane that I was watching this guy that long ago. Came in at Sporting, replaced João Paulinho, who went to Fulham. And so Ugarte was kind of the guy who stepped in, right? And then obviously he was replaced by Morten Hjulman, who you guys might see featured in one of these videos soon, because I did do a report on Morten Hjulman when he was still at Lecce. So keep that in mind. But I thought it was funny, my very first scouting report, funny how it worked out. I'm sitting here writing, talking about this player. I think he'd be excellent at United, yada, yada. And lo and behold, he's here now. So he still dominates the percentiles when it comes to tackles and interceptions, Ugarte. But his progressive numbers have declined. And they've declined just in like the last 7 months or so, because his ball progression was actually not bad to start the season off. Could that have to do with just the high level of being in the Premier League? It's a little more physical. He's not getting as much. Maybe he's not developed that aspect of his game quite as much. I don't know, but I think I'm going to go ahead and make this look different if that's cool with you guys. Hold on a second. There we go. I'm going to do this instead. That look better to y'all. But it's, again, the jury might be out, as Danny says. It could be that it's still one more year. But again, he was the first on the list, so we got to go through it all. But Fox says England just beat Germany 3-2 under 21s. Interesting. Yeah, I didn't forgot that the year under 21s Euros are going on right now. Like I said, I've been out of it these last couple of days, man. Casper says Ugarte needs a big season this season, just like Ugarte. Yeah. But the question is, what's the verdict from you guys on Ugarte? Did I get this one right when I went through this scouting report? I mean, a lot of it was talking about his progression, talking about how much of a midfield force he was, how physical he was, and nothing's really changed in that regard. So, but did he hit the heights that we thought he might do? Rajat, big up. Rajat says he needs one more year to judge. Well, what are you guys saying here in the comments here? So 2/3 of you say miss. Only one says hit. So interesting stuff. But yes, Manuel Ugarte was my very, very first scouting report that I've ever done. So interesting stuff, to say the least. You guys know that it's always a little early to judge, but I think that a lot of United fans have they've already kind of written him off. Some say he needs more time. I think something happened behind the scenes, because to not get that many minutes later on, but we'll see what happens. I don't think Ineos are gonna kind of get rid of him so quickly, unless literally Amorim just says, I don't want him in the club, or I just don't back him at all. But we'll see. But he's only been here a year. I doubt Ineos are going to give up on him after a single year. I'm going to put the poll for the next player up there. You guys get involved in that. Box says miss at the moment. Interesting. Well, he was my very, very first scouting report back when I was just a young amateur little scout. Casper says miss. Interesting. Raja does say, one more year. Well, you guys say miss so far. Interesting. But next on my list, my next scouting report was Ibrahim Sangare. So again, you can see December. So this is December right now. December 2022. He was still at PSV Eindhoven. An absolute monster. I had very, very high hopes for Ibrahim Sangare. And if you watch PSV Eindhoven in the 22-23 season, you would have had high hopes too. The guy was a beast, man. He was excellent defensively. Progressive passing numbers he was basically like a Casemiro. He just got all over the pitch, winning the ball back, getting it up the pitch. He was a force of nature, and covered every blade of grass for PSV Eindhoven at the time. You guys know I watched a lot of Dutch football back then. It hasn't exactly gone his way, though, since joining Forest, has it? He was eased in slowly for the initial season in 23-24 after he joined Forest. Then he picked up a hamstring that saw him miss 20 games this last season. So pretty much, and it's hard because he's at his mid-20s. Now he's 27. You don't want to be missing too much football with those hammies. He's 27 now. He needs to start staying fit. But again, the question is not, hey, these players work at United. The question is, did I get these scouting reports right? Was it a hit, my prediction, or was it a complete miss? What are you guys saying about poor old Sangare? 2/3 are saying miss again. Yeah, I think the injuries really do kind of make this one a miss. Big up, Gary. Good to see you again, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Box says, to be honest, most players at United are misses. Yeah, that's a whole nother video, man. Rajat can't tell. Yeah, if you haven't watched a lot of Forest, you might not have doing this, but yeah, he was an absolute baller at PSV, man. Danny says, I was the same with Sangare. Yeah, man, he was an absolute, if you watch Dutch football back a couple of years ago, he was an absolute monster. Such a good player, big, physical, kind of like what's his face, Edson Alvarez in a way as well, another Ajax player there. Casper says, I wasn't on the stream when Ibrahim Sangare, you predicted him. Well, I didn't do this. This was long before the channel. This was before Stretty News. This was before a lot of things. This was what, well over 2 years ago I was doing this. So, but Ibrahim Sangare, you guys say miss. Poor Ibrahim Sangare. Poor guy. Oh man. But yeah, I had such high hopes for him. I'm not sure. I'm just not sure what happened to him. But Ibrahim Sangare sounds like it was a bit of a miss. Let me go here. I'm going to put another poll in here to get this going here. Sivert Mansford. You guys, some of these you guys might not have even heard of yet, but again, we're going through them in order and going on there. So we'll move on to the next one. Danny says, what was the French guy who went to Leicester? He was good, but fell off a cliff. Are you talking about Boubakary Samari? Probably. There are a lot of those kind of random players, those like Frenchish, Dutch, like Danish midfielders back. This was probably like 5 or 6 years ago. There were, I forget some of them now. There were so many around there, but yeah, probably talking about Samari a little bit. Raja says, we take Andre, maybe. Which Andre? Let me know. Casper says Ibrahim Sangare is a bit of a miss. Yeah, I think those injuries really hurt him, but let me. Yeah, I liked him poo now. Yeah, he was big up. There was always another one. I forget his name now. He's another young midfielder. It wasn't Riedewald. It was another one. I forget his name now. It'll come to me later on, but another French guy. Moving on. Sivert Mansford. Some of you guys are like, Gesundheit. This was January 2023. I scouted this guy. This was when he was at Molde. Yeah, I was scouting Molde players back in 2023. That's how like big of a nerd I was. I actually called him the next Frankie de Jong in my my scouting report based on what I was seeing, or rather specifically, I asked. I said, "Is Sivert Mansford the next Frankie de Jong?" Basically. This was back when Frankie de Jong was good. By the way, Frankie de Jong used to be a good player. I could have been very right about this in a different way, though, because like Frankie de Jong, Mansford got a lot of foot injuries, a lot of ankle injuries. He missed nearly 50 games since making the jump to Ajax. He then spent last season on loan at Cardiff City. I think injuries probably put a big dent in his career, but this guy's ball progression, his deep-lying playmaking skills when he was at Molde were peerless at the time. He was an excellent player. But Raja says Caicedo was more like miniature N'Golo Kante. Yeah. Danny says not familiar. Rob probably knows him. Yeah, a lot of these players you guys might not have heard of. Maybe that's indicative that I just didn't get them right. But this guy was at Molde when I do that. Raja says do not care or watch. That's no problem. You don't have to. These aren't scouting reports for the future. I'm going back and looking at my old scouting reports from a couple of years ago with you guys and just kind of rating, were these hits or missed? Did I get them right? Did I get them wrong? Chris, welcome back, man. Says Ugarte is good, but not in Amorim's 3-4-3. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I don't think anybody's going to make any decisions on Ugarte this summer, but again, those last couple matches of the season were pretty telling for me, but big up, man. Casper, Sivert Mansford, heard of him. Oh yeah, Cardiff. Yeah, he's definitely on loan, but like I said, some of you guys might have not just ever heard of these guys, but sounds like that was a miss. Yeah, I think those injuries really, really just killed him. All right, you guys might have heard of this guy, so we're starting to get into the names here that people might have heard of. Again, these aren't United players. These aren't players I want at United. These aren't future scouts. These are past scouting reports. So let me know what you think. Yeah, you guys got it. So moving on to the next player on that list. Again, this is back in January 2023. I was rolling this way. Andres Schelderup. So you guys watch any Portuguese football, you watch any of Benfica, you guys might have seen him. He's actually having a very, very good season. As you can see, I was on a little bit of a Norwegian kick back then because he was at FC Nordjylland way back when I scouted him back in January 2023. Left midfielder, playing for Benfica these days. He had 10 goals when I scouted him, and then he joined Benfica's academy from Nordjylland, and then he went back to Nordjylland on loan, technically, where he picked up another 10 goals, 10 assists in all competitions before getting back into Benfica's first team last season, where he bagged 5 goals, 5 assists in all comps, and he's still just 21. He's actually doing very, very well. I like to think that I got this one right. And just because I said that I was doing scouting report doesn't mean I thought they were going to be overnight sensations. These are players to watch. These are young up-and-coming players, lesser-known players from maybe leagues outside of Europe's top 5 leagues that I think are good players. And I think Sheldrup is definitely showing, and he's still 21, that he's probably right on that cusp. It's all up to him. He could be another João Felix going to Benfica, maybe move for a big money move, but we'll see. Danny says, I like him. I like Sheldrup too. I think he's a very, very good player. But what do you guys say in the chat? Raja said, who are these players? Don't know how. Like I said, man, we're going through my old scouting reports that I did way before I had the channel, way before I was writing for Stretty News. On that website, there was a link to that website in a post from the other day, just to see, hey, did I get these right? Did I get them wrong? What do you guys think? So what are you guys thinking of Sheldrup? 75% of you say hit. It's 25% of you say miss. Yeah, I'm going to say Sheldrup is a hit so far. I think I got that one spot on personally, but I mean, could be a little self-serving. But hey, that's all right. I think he's doing really, really well right now for Benfica. He's having a gate. I think he's on the cusp of being like one of the next big players that everyone's going to start talking about. All right, we'll move on to another player. I was actually very disappointed that this guy didn't blow up as quickly as I thought I would. Box has the first hit, right? Not doing so hot so far. Wait till we get a little further. You guys are gonna start calling me like Typhoid Mary or something. I'm like gonna be kiss of death with some of these players because I do these as I was going through some of these, I was realizing, I did the scouting report, and then immediately these players just started picking up injuries, like Sivert Mansford, who we just talked about. Like I'm like, I need to stop doing scouting report. I'm trying to think, did I do one on Mason Mount? No, I didn't do one on Mason Mount. So, but moving on to my next player. This is Amin Gori. Again, another January 2023 scout. He was at Rennes when I scouted him, doing very, very well at Rennes. Current club, he's currently at Marseille, working with De Zerbi. I actually called this guy, don't laugh. I called this guy the next Karim Benzema. I know. I don't want to hear it. In my defense, though, at the time, 17 goals, 6 assists in all competitions that season, 16 goals, 7 assists in all comps as a teenager when he was at Nice in 2021, 12 goals, 10 assists in 21-22 season. It's not like I was like off the mark when I was predicting this kid was going to blow up, right? He was doing really, really well. He was bagging goals left and right. He may not have turned out to be a Benzema regen like I thought he might be, but he did get 13 goals, 5 assists last season, which I think in the French league kind of puts him at a level. I don't think he's ever going to be that starting striker who's going to bag you 20 goals, but he's absolutely balling out. And he's had some good goals. I saw a clip recently, good little ball, Chester, bicycle kick in the box. Like, he still has it in him. I think he could still be a good striker. He's getting to that mid-20s age, though, where he's really got to show what he's doing. Box says Gorby still looks good. Yeah, he's got his moments for sure. He definitely didn't hit the heights that I thought he was going to hit, which is a little bit of a bummer. But if you guys watch any of the French league, that's where he's playing these days. That's where he was when I started watching. What are you guys saying? It's 50-50 split right now. Only 2 votes, 8 people watching. I mean, it's okay if you never watch them, but I feel like if I put an option in there of like NA, then that's the only thing it's going to be for some of these guys. But I had high hopes for Amin Gori, but looks like that was a kind of a tie there, a draw. You guys probably going to start hearing about some of these other players, and that's maybe indicative that I got them right. But maybe it's just indicative that I was that they're doing well. But let me know as we move on to the next player on the list. Edmund Tapsoba. So probably a pretty well-known player from a lot of you guys. He's going to be, pretty well-known these days, right? Like, that's just the way it is. Do I really need to defend this one? Do I really need to sit here and say, like, I got this? Like, I think we can all agree that Tapsoba is an excellent, excellent player. Gary, dude, big up, man. You're an absolute class act, dude. Appreciate, yes. Gary, for the puppy fund. I do appreciate that. My wife is just head over heels right now, like, so in love with everyone who's contributing, and everyone, even if you can't contribute, it's not fine. There is a link in the description. You can share that if you can't. But yes, she is raising funds for the animal shelter that she volunteers for. They're part of a big fundraising event. So every little bit helps. Again, there's never any pressure, but as Gary says, for the puppies. I appreciate that, Gary, man. You're an absolute legend, bro. Love you, man. Danny says hit. Yeah, I think it's hard to argue that this guy's Edmund Tapsoba is not a hit. He's an absolute rock. I'm shocked that Tapsoba is still at Leverkusen. This was from January 2023, and he's still at Leverkusen. He's 29 years old now. It's going to be interesting to see what Ten Hag thinks of him. Now, remember, Ten Hag is at Leverkusen now. I think that with Ten Hag bringing in, working with these players, we'll see what kind of system he plays with, because Leverkusen have been playing a back three for a while. I like Tapsoba a lot. I've liked him. There were some links, I think, linking him to like Barcelona. I think we were linked with him a while back as well. I think he's an absolute hit. I think I got this one spot on. Again, it wasn't like he was super like young when I did this scouting report, but he was lesser known. Like a whole lot of people were watching a whole lot of Leverkusen. This was before Xabi Alonso was there. And so I think that was kind of the thing. But Casper says, Tapsoba at Bayer Leverkusen, good player. So 100% of you say this was a hit. I'm going to agree. I might be a little biased, but it is what it is. Yeah, I think we're going to start getting into, I'm doing these in order of when I wrote them too. So let me put the next one on here, guys. Make sure you're getting involved and hitting that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Again, this is just one of those random fun videos we're doing right now. If you're just joining in, going through my old scouting reports from like over 2 years ago to see if I got them right or not. And I'm letting you guys kind of decide with that. But Roger said he was only joining once Harry Maguire was kind of close to joining West Ham. Yeah. And we're starting to get into players that you guys are going to be familiar with, because next on my list is Noni Madueke. So you guys are like, what? He's at Chelsea. Yeah, he is at Chelsea. But when I did a scouting report on him in January 2023, he was still at PSV Eindhoven. And he was kind of coming in, breaking into the first team. Bakayoko sort of replaced Madueke when Madueke went to Chelsea. And PSV Eindhoven have a really good kind of conveyor belt of young attackers. And Ruud played a big part in that, getting a lot of these guys more comfortable, confident in front of goal. I go back and forth on Madueke, but I think ultimately I did get this one right. It's not my fault. He joined Chelsea, probably realized it was not the best place to go. He was not getting many minutes. He still bagged 11 goals, 4 assists in all comps last season, though. 8 goals, 3 assists in 23-24. What do you guys think about Madueke? I think Danny says still wait and see. Again, there's not much skin in the game for us as United fans. This is just seeing, hey, is he a good player? Did I get this right 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, when I thought he was going to be a good player? Danny says wait and see. Bach says not a big fan of Madueke. Madueke is definitely, if we had gotten Madueke under Ollie, I think you would be having a whole different conversation. I think he suits that system to a T. He's very quick, very dangerous, especially off that right side where he can cut in onto his left. Noni Madueke says Chelsea's a miss. Yeah, I think Chelsea in general are a miss right now, personally. Danny says I'd say hit so far. What are you guys saying here in the poll? Only 2 votes, you guys. Get involved. Again, pacing winger. He did get 15 goal involvements in all comps last season. So with limited minutes, it's hard to argue that. So I think I would say maybe I would lean more towards hit than miss, but I'm not going to say it was a complete hit, if that makes sense. I'd probably give it like 2/3 of the vote. But what are you guys saying in the chat here? 67% of you say miss. Well, maybe I got it wrong. No worries. I'm gonna put a name up that you guys might not have heard of unless you watch Scottish football these days. But let me put this in here real quick. So reserve your judgment until you realize which Danilo I'm talking about, because you might not quite understand. Box says probably in the middle. Yeah, that's where I'm leaning these days. So this is Danilo. So another player from the Eredivisie. Like I said, I used to watch a lot of Eredivisie. So he was at Feyenoord, young Brazilian striker, very young at the time. He's at Rangers now, but he was at Feyenoord when I scouted him. And at the time of me scouting him, he had 8 goals, 2 assists in just 10 starts at the time. So it wasn't like I waited till the end of the season. Some of these were scouting mid-season right now. So he moved to Feyenoord after a stellar time at Ajax. He's got 15 goals, 5 assists in all comps between Ajax first team and young Ajax, where he jumped in the academy. Hasn't really worked out for him since making the move to Rangers. He's not exactly bagging in goals, so I definitely got this one wrong. I'm going to hold my hands up on this one. Definitely got this one wrong for sure. Danny the Miss. Yes, thank you for being kind with your assessments, because I'm not afraid to hold my hands up. Obviously, it's like a transfer. You never know how they're going to look. I mean, I can only go by the information I have at the time. I do try to look at trajectories, get a bigger sample size, and then some of these guys, just injuries just hit them. Maybe the wrong move as well. Maybe Madueke going to Chelsea, but at the moment for Rangers, he's definitely not replicating any of the spark that I saw during his time at Feyenoord. And once, Santi Jimenez comes in, kind of makes you forget about every striker that was there before him, aside from Robin Van Persie. So definitely missed the mark there with Danilo, which is fine. I'm not too ashamed to say it, but it happens. We don't get them all right. The success for scouts back in those days, like it's very, very hit or miss, which is why we call the show Hit or Miss. This next guy you've heard me talk about a couple times, but I haven't spoken about him in a very long time. I spoke about him a lot. He featured in some scout reports back when I was looking at Luke Shaw replacements, and that is Bjorn Meyer. So again, looking at Belgian League, you guys know I look at a lot of players from the Belgian League. Young left back, very, very good left back. If you watch the channel for a while, you might remember him from a couple of videos. He is such a good left back. Honest to God, he had the potential to be great, but it's just these injuries. He got hit with so many injuries, like knee surgery, hamstring issues. He missed 70 matches since my scouting report due to injuries. Man, I worry that his career is just not going to recover at all. So he's at Club Brugge still, but he's kind of been filtering back in through like their resis a little bit to get back into first team match fitness. It's hard to almost give a verdict when someone's got so many injuries, because he's still young enough to, I feel like, but you just wonder that in this, and you're starting to see the same thing. I've told you guys, it's not the number necessarily of injuries. Sometimes it's the nature. And when there's so many, like your hamstrings, the ankles and stuff, those are all so interconnected. And then you oftentimes see those start to creep in after long major injuries, like your ACL, like knee surgery. And so it's very difficult in a livelihood, in a sport that is all based around your legs and your feet. It's hard to get past that stuff, because you're putting about 100 times more stress and strain and pressure on those body parts than the average human being ever will. Body can only take so much. And so I worry about Bjorn Meyer's career. I worry that it might not come back a little bit. Danny says he forgot about him. Yeah, that's why, because he's definitely been gone. But he's definitely a miss, I think, just because of the injuries, which is harsh to say, but I worry about his long-term career. So did not get that one super spot. I mean, I still argue that he is a good player. It's just the injuries, man. But it is what it is. You got if I'm going to show that energy for Luke Shaw, I got to show it for Bjorn Meyer. So I know De Kuiper pretty much came in and took over for him, and De Kuiper made a big name for himself. He's getting looked at by Arsenal and whatnot for left back role. De Kuiper is a very good left back too. So Club Brugge, like if you guys don't watch the Belgian league, and Club Brugge is where Arden Yashari plays. Onyedika, good defensive midfielder. Ordonez, good center back. Kyrian Asabe, Andreas Skov Olsen, the winger that I've talked about a long time ago, who you might see pop up again in the scouting report in the future when we go through this list. They have a lot of really good players. Solis doing really well over there as well. Chris says all good players, but Amorim's system need very specific players. Well, Chris, like I said, this isn't me scouting players for United. This is me going back and looking at my old scouting reports way back before they had the channel in 2023 when I started an old website, and basically looking at the players I scouted 2 years ago and seeing if I got it right or not with my reports. This doesn't really necessarily have anything to do with United per se. I was just looking at scout, but I appreciate you getting involved. Gary says Giggs was an absolute miracle when he came to the hamstrings yoga. Yeah, Giggs, he started doing yoga, acupuncture, all that stuff just to prolong his career. And that's why he was still in tremendous shape. That's why he was still playing until he was like 40. And that's what you have to make those sacrifices. I mean, he stopped going out and partying. He just still got into some mischief. I mean, we're not going to go into all that, but Danny says, which Timber? I always mix them up. So this is Quinton Timber is the next name on my list. He is the twin brother of Urian Timber, who obviously went from Ajax to Arsenal. His twin brother Quinton, center midfielder for Feyenoord in the Eredivisie. Very, very good midfielder. And once again, it's just another player whose injuries literally started like immediately after I did a scouting report on him. I'm starting to think I'm bad luck for these poor bastards. I mean, he had major knee surgery in February 2023. Saw him miss the rest of the season. He got ankle injuries. He had a ligament tear last year. Injuries have just destroyed this guy's career these last couple of years. But his ball progression in midfield at the time was up like seriously like 90 some odd percentile. He was an absolute beast when it came to picking up the ball in deep positions and dribbling it up the pitch, not just hoofing long balls, not getting like he was press resistant, keep the ball stuck to him like glue. He was all over the place. He was a very, very good midfielder in that regard. And I had nothing but high hopes for him. Yeah, both of the Timber brothers are good. Both just have like, it's so funny too, because this guy got a ligament issue last year. Urian Timber got a ligament issue the year before. Like, I don't, maybe they don't make them like they used to in the Dutch league. A lot of these Dutch players are just dealing with crazy injuries, or at least players from that Eredivisie, man. It's been insane, man. Gary. Giggsy he's one of my favorite players. Obviously his jersey is up here. You can't see it, but try to look past some of that. I try to separate as much as I can some of the off pitch stuff from the on pitch stuff. But yeah, that definitely wasn't a cool move, but Giggsy going to Giggsy, I guess. But what are you guys thinking of Quinton Timber? Say hit. He was good at the time, but he's just injuries, man. It's just not doing it. But I'll take it. I'm not too proud to take it. Danny might be more familiar with this next guy on my list. Watching the South American League a little bit. Some of you guys might not. I haven't watched him a whole lot since I did a scouting report on him, but at the time he was very, very popular. And this is Angelo Gabriel. Right wing, plays for Santos, or he did play for Santos when I did the scouting report. Now he plays for Al Nassr, and then no one's really heard of him anymore. He was being called the next Neymar at the time. He made his first team debut for Santos at 15 years old. He was the youngest player to score in the Copa Libertadores. Pacey, tricky, easy to see where the Neymar comparisons came from at the time. He made the switch to Chelsea and then Strasbourg, which is basically Chelsea. And then last season went to Al Nassr, where he scored 2, provided 9 assists last year. I mean, I don't know what goals translate from the Saudi league, but I had high hopes. It sounds like a lot of people had high hopes of this guy. Again, he was being called the next Neymar at the time, but hasn't exactly gone his way since, unfortunately. Danny, let me know if you've seen any of these guys. He says one of these Chelseas. Yeah. Chris, I do a lot of that stuff throughout the season, but and today we might have done a news roundup. There just wasn't a whole lot of news to talk about. I don't think you guys want to watch another YouTube video of United preparing a bid for Mbeumo. Like, we'll do that tomorrow. But normally we do, but this is the fun day. This is a fun thing. So Danny says miss. Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah, dude. It is what he did have some big hype too, man. He was getting hyped a lot, and I probably fell for it. Again, sometimes the decision making when it comes to your career path can make or break your career. It just can. Move too soon, and you could be like a Marcos Leonardo or something. And like, where's he at? Al Nassr now? Like, you want to find the career path, the club that's the best for you, and sometimes it is hard to like resist that big pull. Like he had no business going to Chelsea when he was that young. What was ever going to happen? Like, it just is what it is. Maybe he could have gone someplace like the Dutch league. I think he would have been very good going to like Eindhoven, Ajax. Ajax love those Brazilian wingers and things. And then he could have almost had his pick of any club at that point. But you go too soon, you reach for the sun too quickly, and you're going to get burned. So probably a miss, unfortunately, just due to, I think, career choices. But I had high hopes for this kid. We're almost done, though. We're wrapping it up here shortly. Like I said, not super long videos. I'm going through these month by month, because if I did them all at once, we would be here for like 5 hours. I don't think you guys want to do that. But I do appreciate you guys stopping by and getting involved. I'm having a blast going through this. It's really been fun to go back and watch a lot of these because it's been a while. So next on my list, probably someone you're a little bit more familiar with. Hesty13, big up, Sean. This stream is kind of refreshing for me during the frustrating transfer windows BS. Well, big up, Hesty. This is why I do these fun videos now and then. You guys know I don't like to just talk about nothing when the transfer news is just the same kind of recycled stuff. Like United could be doing this, prep, and like we know that. It's common sense. If bid's rejected, you're probably going to. So it is. I don't judge other channels. I don't want to do that. So I prefer to have a little fun. But big up. Danny says, still wait and see when it comes to Georgi Marmardashvili. So my first goalkeeping scouting report way back when, January 2023, Valencia goalkeeper, Georgian. Liverpool signed him last summer and then loaned him back to Valencia, something I think United should do with Sen Lamens, by the way, because he's super young. But Mardashvili at the time, I'm proud to say this is one I think I got spot on. He's been a great keeper. And at the time, I wanted us to sign him. I thought he was that good. His numbers dipped a little bit last season. I wonder if the whole Liverpool transfer not his head not fully being, I wonder if that had something to do with it. That does happen to players. I mean, remember De Gea's performances tended to dip whenever his contract talks popped up. But if you look at Mamardashvili's numbers from that season in Valencia, that 2022-2023 season, it was pretty good. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to go look at it right now, as a matter of fact, because I forgot what that was. Hold on a second. So 2022-2023 season, like literally like excellent save percentages, crosses stop, top 20%, average, a good sweeper, good kicking. Like he was a very good keeper at the time. Very, very good. I do think I got that one pretty spot on personally, but Gary says he gets to be the new Keller. Yeah, I don't think, I wonder what's going to happen with Allison, because Allison is, 30 now. And a lot of people say like, keepers can play until they're in their mid-30s. We've already had that discussion a couple of times. If Liverpool are going to look at Valencia's first choice goalkeeper, I don't know how long Allison, I don't even know how long Ederson's going to be at City. Casper says, Mardashvili hit round great player now at Liverpool. Yeah, maybe going to Liverpool does put a dent in Mardashvili's ratings for you guys for a little bit, but I think for me, he's still a good keeper. I'd still have him at United. I think he's very, very good. But for some of us, it might be a wait and see just because we haven't, a lot of you maybe have not seen him as much. But back then, he was doing the dirty. This was back when like Jules Koundé was still at Sevilla, who I really wanted as well. So moving on to my last one for today, the last one for January of 2023. Some of you might not be familiar with again, but playing in Salzburg, RB Salzburg these days. So some of you might not watch the Austrian league a lot. Let me bring him up on the screen for you guys. So this is Moritz Kjærgaard, central midfielder, RB Salzburg, still at RB Salzburg as well. 19 years old when I scouted Kjærgaard back in January 2023, and he was back then bossing the Austrian league's midfield for RB Salzburg. His progressive numbers were off the charts. His off-the-ball work was solid. He regularly pitches in with his fair share of goals and assists. The guy was an absolute beast. Problem is, again, a kiss of death, injuries, and not the good kind, because foot, hamstring, major ankle injury that saw him miss 31 matches and 200 and some odd days last season, just caught up. And he's still just 22. So those injuries, those kind of severe injuries are a worry at such a young age. It's really unfortunate. I think I'm a bad luck charm, man. Like, it's not good. There's only something, you can't predict that much for injuries at the time, but this kid was a boss, man. It's just sometimes you're going to pick up these injuries when you're young, especially in midfield. You see a lot of midfielders get a lot of these, especially midfielders who are good on the ball. And like Frankie de Jong, when you're able to hold on to the ball, you are going to get kicked a lot and you are going to pick up a lot of these little niggles. Unfortunately, this guy just got him. So Danny says, forgot about him because he missed 200 days of football, unfortunately, which is too bad because I do think this kid had everything in him to be an absolute baller. Unfortunately, just those injuries got him, man. But What are you going to do? Casper says, I've heard of him more. It's Kierkegaard and missed because of the injuries. Yeah, I think, again, I just got to, maybe that's why I subconsciously stopped doing scouting reports, because everybody was getting injured after I did them. Unfortunately. Oh, man. That's too bad, though. But 80% of you say miss. Yeah, it probably is going to be a miss, unfortunately, just because of those injuries. So it is what it is. Probably more misses than hits with that first batch. And I do think it's a bit skewed simply because of injuries. It's hard to predict what might have happened had someone like Quentin Timber, for instance, not picked up all those injuries. Kierkegaard, for instance, not picked up all those injuries. But it is what it is. We can't just negate it. It's part of it. It's part of what goes into it. And in terms of future analysis and scouting, that's going to play a role too. So it is what it is. Gary says modern footballers are so prone to bad injuries. Maybe all that beer and stuff from like the 80s and the 70s was like some sort of elixir and just kept everybody safe, because those guys used to get kicked left and right in mud, and like I don't have a problem with that. So Bach said, do some scouting reports on Wirtz, Frimpong, Kirkej, Reinder. You want me to do scouting reports on players that have signed for City and Liverpool? First of all, done a scouting report on Frimpong, did a scouting report on Kirkej. If you keep watching this series, you will see a scouting report on Tijani Reinders, because I scouted him long before everybody heard of him. Cherky, we've done scouting reports on. Nippon, we've done scouting reports on. We've done scouting reports on all those players. You could find a whole video on Nippon if you look back far enough. He's literally in the thumbnail, like, boom, right there in your face. So there's not many players I haven't done scouting reports on, if I'm honest. But I'm proud to say Tijani Reinders is one that I did a scouting report on a long time ago. Keep watching this series and you'll see. Casper says, thoughts on Liverpool signing Freddie Woodman. Is that the guy that we were linked to? Is that who that is? So if I remember. Oh, I got you, Box. No, I get it now. No, that's funny, man. I told you, it's been a long couple of days. Like I said, I've been sick. I've just been not feeling great. I didn't really sleep that well. My wife's out of town, so whenever my wife's out of town, I tend not to sleep that well, because I'm a good husband, I guess. But I've been up for a while, and I just haven't felt well. My stomach's feeling a little off. My head's feeling a little off. So it is. I think I got something. Gary says, do I support any MLS team? I do not. I don't really watch MLS. A lot of the MLS games are on late, and I'm old, so I don't stay up late to watch MLS. Plus, I mean, I used to watch more. Probably 10 years ago or so, I was watching a lot more MLS, but I just don't watch as much of it anymore. I probably watch more USL football than I do MLS, because like Detroit City, I used to be a season ticket holder to Detroit City FC in the USL. They've been in the USL for a couple seasons now. They play about half hour from me. AFC Ann Arbor, they play about 25 minutes from me as well. I used to be on the board for Livonia City FC, who were in the Midwest Premier League a couple seasons. I think now they're in the NPSL. But no, I don't support any MLS teams. There's no Michigan MLS team. And I know Detroit put a bid in several years ago to try to get an MLS team, but MLS is pretty strict where they want you to have a stadium pretty much lined up, which I don't understand how like the New York City FC get away with it, because then they use Yankee Stadium for a while. So one rule for some clubs, one rule for another, seems like. Chris says, with Cunha and Mbeumo and two overlapping wingbacks, Bruno is a false nine. That's formidable. Well, the question is, again, we can say we can play this and that. Like Danny and I can sit here and wish we would play a 3-5-2 with Cunha and Mbeumo up top. But the question, we could talk about that till the cows come home. The problem is, and I'm not saying you're wrong, it's out of its moot, because that's not what Amorim does. So I almost don't like wasting time wishing for those kind of formations and those kind of roles, because it's just, he's not going to do that. So it is what it is. So Bulka to Sunderland soon. Yeah, I read that Bulka was linked to Sunderland, but that's just 1 month. That was my first month of scouting reports way back in January 2023/December 2022. I've got February's lined up, ready to go. We got about a year's worth, but there's not as many scouting reports in each month. So that first year, you're not going to get there weren't a whole lot for March, because that's that first year Justin and I went to Manchester for our first time. So there's a big gap in there. But there's probably going to be like 7-8 of these, I would say, if that makes sense. But so the question though is, if you had to choose one player from the players that we looked at today as like the biggest hit of all of them, who would it be? I'll put him back up on the screen for you guys here one at a time so you guys can see. Let me go back up to the first one. So we had, so you get to choose one as your biggest hit, right? So we got Ugarte, Ibrahim Sengare, Sivert Mansford. Yeah, I know, right? Funny name. Andreas Schelderup, Amin Gori, Edmund Tapsoba, Noni Madueke, Danilo, Bjorn Meyer, Quentin Timber, Angelo Gabriel, Georgi Mamardashvili, and then Moritz Kjærgaard. Those are the ones we went through today. Which one was your biggest hit? If I had to pick myself for biggest hit, I'm probably going to go with Tapsoba, just because like at the time he was lesser known, but he was already kind of in his mid-20s. But now he's been really getting a lot of notoriety these last couple of years as well. Danny agrees. Tapsoba, Tapsoba is probably definitely my pick then, just by just what he's done. Close second, you could say maybe Ugarte. Just, I mean, who knows? But who, you never know. Box says number one Tapsoba, second Gori. Yeah, Gori's not bad. He didn't hit the heights that I thought. He's definitely like your second choice. If you went someplace like, I don't know, Bournemouth or something, he'd probably do just fine. But I don't think he's the guy who's going to make the difference maker for you in terms of a trophy or a title push, if that makes sense. But a lot of you guys are agreeing. Tapsoba boxes any scouting reports on Gaetan. Honestly, if you watch one of my What If episodes, I did mention Schneider in there. I think that was the Lewandowski episode. I don't remember off the top of my head, though. But yeah, sounds like everybody's agreeing. Tapsoba. Box does not rate Madueke. Yeah, everybody. I mean, this is the thing. You never know. But it's still fun to go back and look. Like I said, I was a bit of a nerd back then. I watched a lot more. Back then, I'll admit, I watched a lot more football than I do now, simply because I'm just a little bit more busy now. But like I said, I was doing PFSA scouting courses. I was back when I was getting my sports psychology certification and stuff. So I was really, really into it. And then I kind of stopped once Stretty News was looking for people to contribute. Then I kind of shifted my focus to writing for Stretty News. And so a lot of the scouting stuff went on the back burner, and then I just never did it anymore because then I started the channel. So it was my website, then it was Stretty News, and then it was United vs. Everybody is kind of the progression there. And so I'm happy with the way things turned out for me. Unfortunately, for some of these players, it didn't turn out as well as I thought it would. It just is what it is. I did see that they could be getting by getting, so maybe an option for Garnacho is kind of out the door, but I don't think he's going to play out. I doubt he's going to play much, but we'll see. Chelsea are a mess. Chelsea are literal opposite of what you should be doing as a club. Because people can say, oh, they're buying all these young players. They're not buying with a plan. They're not building. They're just they're trying to hoover up all the young talent, and they're having to sell hotels and sell women's teams just to do it. That's not a plan. Todd Bowley's treating that team like it's like a Major League Baseball, and you can just buy these players and throw them down to the minor leagues to develop. That's not how this works. You have to plan, and you can't plan without manager kind of stability. And without manager stability, your individual player development takes a hit. There's a statistical correlation to that, which is why a lot of our individuals at United that have been here for a while are not developing, like your Rashfords and whatnot. So it is what it is. Yeah, it is a little bit of a scattergun approach, unfortunately. I guess it's not unfortunate. It's Chelsea. I really don't care. Danny says, yeah, they'll destroy it. Kendry Paez and Estevao. Yeah, I just don't think there's a plan. We don't have a plan for these young players. And honestly, kind of like the Angelo Gabriel, who went to Chelsea, then went on loan to Strasbourg, who are basically owned by Chelsea. He found out the hard way. You have to make sure you make these right decisions, because it's really hard to recover from a bad decision like this. Look at Donny van de Beek. I mean, when he left Ajax, he was literally at the peak of his powers. He was in the like 20s for like Ballon d'Or the year prior to that. He was an absolute baller at Ajax, and then just made the wrong decision, wrong manager, wrong system, wrong club, wrong time, and his career is just completely derailed. And it's not necessarily blaming the player. The player is not an expert on these things. They're trusting the people they have around them, but it's just decisions like that, like, it can have big impact. Samari, yeah, that's that Leicester player that Danny was mentioning. I always forget there was another midfielder similar to Boubacar Samari that was really big. It's like right on the tip of my tongue too. He's Belgian, I want to say. I don't remember where he was though, but what are you going to do? Danny says, I bet Anselmino. I forgot about Anselmino. That guy was the talk of the town last summer, kicking himself he didn't wait on United. Yeah, he could have been the aid in heaven, but it is what it is, man. So what are you going to do? But I do appreciate you guys checking out some of these scouting reports. It's a bit interesting. Like I said, it's not like, it's just for fun. This isn't necessarily players that are, look, I'm like, yeah, United should buy them. These are just players I had my eye on several years ago. I thought they were going to be big. As you see, some of them are. Tijani Reinders, Hayden Hackney, Victor Gyökeres. You guys, I showed you that scouting report from way back when that I did on Victor Gyökeres back in 2023 when he was at Coventry. Some of them haven't. You'll see I did a scouting report on João Neves long time ago. So we're going to look at all that in the future as this series keeps on going. But it is. Yeah, Danny, he definitely, if Anselmino would have joined us, he definitely would have had a few games under his belt for sure. Because we already saw Aiden Heaven, and Aiden Heaven did us the best thing he ever could when it comes to these young players. Because you don't see youngsters going to Chelsea doing interviews saying, like, yeah, they have the best track record for this. They've got, they gave the most minutes to youngsters. We do that. That's why we can convince Cheeto, Aiden Heaven, Lasalle, all these guys to come to us. Harley, whoever that kid's name is, because we do that. And Aiden Heaven got minutes, and he will get minutes. So Danny says better not sleep on Juan Jimenez as well. And it's up to Ineos to prove that they have a plan and that they're sticking to their plan. I'd like to see a little bit more expediency. I don't really like this whole one at a time thing that I'm seeing, because we did kind of spend like the better part of the first month of a transfer window. That was such a free hit to get players in earlier. Amorim can't be too happy about that. We still have time. Preseason tour has not started yet, but Ineos need to step it up. It's near impossible to get more than one player over the line before preseason starts now, and I'm not happy about it, but it is what it is, man. But I appreciate that, you guys. Make sure you're hitting that like button for me before you guys go dip out and enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Make sure you're hitting that subscribe button, more importantly, if you are new. Check all the links in the description, you guys, if you want to contribute to the charity that we've been discussing on the channel. Again, no pressure, but that's where the link is if you want to. And even if you can't, consider sharing it. All the membership information is in there as well. You guys do get a say, as someone mentioned, maybe do some scouting reports. Memberships do give you an option to suggest players for scouting reports as well. So keep that in mind. And then there's links to the kit bags and all that stuff as well. So big up everybody for getting involved today. I do appreciate you guys doing that. Big up Gary as well, too, for his contribution. Very, very generous. Absolute legend. Dude, you did another one. Gary, I don't even know what to tell you, man. You are an absolute all-star today. I wonder if it'll let me give away memberships today. I doubt that I'll be able to give away new. I'm going to wait till everybody hold me to this. I'll wait till we have more viewers on, maybe for the news roundup, and I'll give away more memberships. But Gary, dude, top man, dude, absolute class act. I appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. You've been such a big part of the channel, getting regularly involved. I'm not just saying that because you're donating, dude, but I do appreciate that. Says Chelsea are a pure banter club now. Can't even lock down a shirt sponsor. Honestly, I've never considered Chelsea, even City to an extent. I don't ever consider them rivals, because they didn't do shit until they got rich owners, basically. And I don't count that as like an actual rival. I don't consider them rivals. And their fans would be like, well, yeah, we're not, because we're in a different league as you. Like, you were nothing before you got your owners. Let's just have it right. City are the RB Leipzig of the Premier League. That's just what they are. And no offense to RB Leipzig. That's just is what it is. Like, that's how I look at Man City. I've never, ever considered them an actual club, which is why it doesn't bother me that much if they win things, because we all know why they do that. And so it is what it is. Like, I wish we would win, but it doesn't bother me when City win as much. It bothered me a lot more when Liverpool or like Arsenal win things, but Arsenal don't win things. So I'm not bothered by that these days. But Enjoy the rest of your days, you guys. Chris, I did a scouting report on him, almost 2 weeks ago, I want to say. So you can go check that out. Maybe I should put some of the scouting names in the videos too, if you guys want. But yes, we did do a scouting report on Lennon Miller not that long ago. So go check that one out as well. But guys, go enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Don't waste it here, wasting time with me. I appreciate all you guys getting involved today, taking a trip down memory lane with me, you guys. We'll be back tomorrow for the news roundup. Once we get some more news to chat about. Obviously, I don't like overdoing the same rumor over and over again. Even stuff that's not news. I'm not the English media. I don't want to do that. But take it easy, you guys. Enjoy your Saturdays, and I will see you guys on the next one. Later.